Welcome to week 8, everybody. If you're new here, hi, welcome to Thiscatcanball, the show where we feature one player each week who's largely been unknown either to riding the bench, being drafted late, or in some cases not even drafted at all. But they decided to show up this week and we're giving them their moment in the spotlight. Now, what's new as we get to just about the middle of the season? That's another thing that I can't stand with the 17 games is we don't really have definitive quarter, middle, three quarters. We're about midway through the season, and we are now out of undefeated teams. The Cardinals finally have a loss to the Packers, which is, not that bad. Packers are kicking some serious ass right now. But, another thing, Kyler Murray, he's still my MVP frontrunner. Is going to be a game-time decision. There are a lot of quarterbacks now that started the season great and are now injury questions. Kyler Murray will be a game-time decision due to his ankle. Aaron Rodgers will not be playing. He was not, due to the Cove, which I like the way they say it instead of saying, that 2020, you can't say it. Due to not having the vaccination for the Cove, Rodgers has contracted it, and he will not play Sunday. Jordan Love, his backup, he's going to do his best. Another star quarterback, actually also in the NFC West, Russell Wilson is finally getting back on the mend. He has the pins taken out of his hands, so he's throwing the ball again. Not 100%, but he should be there for the Seahawks as they go into their playoff run. More injury news, Baker Mayfield is not 100%. He's going to be playing, but he's not 100%. And bad news for the Saints, who just came off a really big win against the Bucs. It was a huge game. They lost their quarterback, Jameis Winston, also called Jabu, also called Famous Jameis. I love that nickname. Anyways, he is out for the season, unfortunately, with a torn ACL, which is the end-all, be-all injury in football, right? Fun fact about Jameis Winston, you guys might not know, he is the only quarterback in NFL history to be part of the 30-30 club. And it's kind of a club he probably doesn't want to be known for, but I think it's pretty awesome. Last year, he was the only quarterback in history to throw for 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. It's kind of amazing they kept him in the season for that long. I mean, damn, dude, that's almost like 2 a game, like regularly. But let's talk about some quarterbacks who are doing great, and the one that stands out the most, in my mind, is Matthew Stafford, quarterback for the Rams. The Rams are seeded number 1 in a few power rankings overall, with good reason. You got Stafford on the offense and Cooper Kupp, who's just ridiculous as a receiver. He's looking to, I don't know if he's going to break all statistical records, but he's going to definitely be up there as far as receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns. Also, their defense, who do they have? Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald. And now they get Von Miller. It's just, I spoke earlier about the rich are getting richer. This is just a ridiculous example of it, but the Rams are going to be extremely dangerous down the home stretch. One thing about Matthew Stafford that really interested me, when he came over to the Rams from the Lions, he actually had decent success in Detroit, and it just shows how good he is because Jared Goff, they switched places. Goff went from the Rams to the Lions, and he's doing terrible over there. I mean, he's just getting slaughtered on a weekly basis. And it shows that, Stafford really was that good to make something happen. I think they may have even made the playoffs once or twice with him. Now he goes to the Rams, and, he's kicking ass with them. And the first thing, I'm pretty sure a lot of people thought about this, but the first thing that came to mind for me was that, is Calvin Johnson going to maybe come back? Megatron, who's he was with he's same boat as Barry Sanders, unbelievably talented, just crushed it day in and day out with that horrible team, and I think he finally just had to retire at his prime. And it's always that what if, like if he had gone to a marginally better team, they probably could have gotten some titles with the amount of talent that Calvin Johnson and Barry Sanders brought. But those guys they have just this incredible dignity that they can't do that. They just, this is the team that drafted them. They stay loyal, and they just had to go out on top. They still had years to go. Barry Sanders very well could have set all kinds of rushing records. He retired in his prime. Calvin Johnson was pretty much the exact same position as a receiver, ready to break all kinds of records, retired in his prime. And he just got inducted into the Hall of Fame. Had he not, I wonder, you gotta think he thought about it like, man, I came back, and I had just a tiny bit more talent than Detroit. Actually, the Rams have tons more talent than the Lions do, but he was like, man, if I came back with Stafford now on this amazing team, I would be shattering records, and they would be, he'd be even closer to getting his ring. That might have been his one chance at getting his ring. Now, I mean, Stafford, luckily for him, he's starting to enter the later years of his career, but now he has a very good chance. Speaking of getting a chance, this segues into, obviously, the winner. The winner is pretty obvious this week of the cat that can ball. If you follow football and you followed this week, well, you probably know that, well, I'll just say who it is. It's going to be Mike White, the quarterback for the New York Jets. And he was a pretty obvious winner. First off, he entered the record books now as him and Cam Newton, but their first game starting, they go out with 400 yards passing, which is ridiculous. I don't care who you are. In this pass-happy NFL that we live in today, 400 yards is still a milestone. 300, which for decades was that's a good game for a quarterback. It's kind of almost standard now, but 400 is still amazing. He did that with the Jets, mind you. I talked last week about a player going into a situation where it's like, having the fastest car in the race. The reason I bring that up again is because Cooper Rush for the Dallas Cowboys had himself a great game, but when you look at that Cowboys offense, they have just so many weapons, right? I mean, you got Amari Cooper, you got Zeke the Plumber in the backfield. There's a lot going on with that offense that, it's not a given that you're going to succeed with that team, but you'll have a much better chance than you will with the freaking Jets. So he put up 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. And let's talk about him a little bit. First off, he came from Western Kentucky. I didn't even know Kentucky was big enough to have regional colleges, but I guess this state's is so damn big, we got to make a Western Kentucky university. And he went there, and he actually had a great career. Drafted 5th round. Went to the Cowboys in 2018, sat on the bench for a while. 2020 went to the Jets. And speaking of setting records, I think he set a record in 2020 for the most times being activated to active roster, being cut, and then signed down to the practice squad. It happened to him 5 times in 1 year. I didn't think that was possible, but good for Mike White, right? So yeah, 2021, this was supposed to be the year for Zach Wilson, right? He was the rookie we're supposed to be talking about going out there kicking butt. But Mike White isn't a rookie. We were supposed to be talking about Zach Wilson taking this Jets team and doing something with it. And for the first 7 weeks, I think we just figured, you know what? It's got to be that team. Zach Wilson is talented. It's got to be that supporting cast that's not living up to it, right? But no, you got this one guy, 5th round pick out of nowhere, starts in place of Zach Wilson. Really just, what's the term? Stopgap. Just like, okay, let's just stop the bleeding. We'll get this guy in there. Hopefully Zach will recover and we can just pick up where we left off. But it's like, wait a minute. This guy came in and put up 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. And on top of all that, they beat the Cincinnati Bengals. I just talked about how good they were last week. Now I'm kind of going back on my word because they just fell to this guy, right? And it was a shootout, 34-31. That means that the Bengals were doing their job. If you put up 31 points on offense, it's like, you know what? You can just pretty much put a check by the offensive box as far as who did their job. But then the Jets putting up 34 to beat them? That is incredible. And that, more than anything, that shows you look at Mike White and you got to figure,
this cat can ball, man.
So that's going to wrap up the show for this week, people. I really hope you like it. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe, also comment. I love the interaction. It's very, very helpful. Also, be sure to click the bell. These do come out every week, but in case you forget, that will notify you. So yeah, just one more quick time. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, comment. I am Omar, and I will see you guys next week.